This video is a Patreon request from Godempress Music. Godempress Music also produced all the music you will hear in this video. Welcome back to the many toys of, and you're gonna die someday. That's kind of scary, right? Death? Time? Halloween? We're talking about Vector Prime today. Before we begin, a big thank you to Reptosaurus King, and of course, to Godempress Music, my producer, who made a Patreon request for Vector Prime. Vector is like the Gordian knot of Transformers lore. It is so hard to actually unravel anything coherent about him, and it's because of Vector that we even have our modern idea of the 13 Primes and the Transformers monomyth, but I'm gonna try to give you the Cliff Notes. Essentially, Vector Prime showed up in Transformers Cybertron. He is a whole lot of homages put into one. His name, a reference to Vector Sigma, his design very loosely inspired by Alpha Trion. He was the first Autobot, as well as the guardian of all time. He's the one to ensure that the past, the present, and the future all go off without a hitch. And in Transformers Cybertron, he is presented as being wise, friendly, but also more than a bit archaic. He speaks with long, antiquated vernacular, and has a hard time understanding modern things, but then you realize he has a better understanding of future technology than any one of us could. It's not so much that he's out of his depth, as it is we're just 1 second out of the billions, if not trillions of years Vector Prime has observed and lived through. He puts his personal age at 9 billion years old, just slightly younger than the universe. But there have been other sources that would imply he's even older than that. Speaking of those other sources, Ask Vector Prime on Facebook was one of the biggest moments where the Hasbro creative team and the fans were able to collaborate to make something special. It filled out countless eras of Transformers, given fiction to characters that never got to appear in comics or shows. Hell, it's because of Ask Vector Prime that characters like Psykill, Space Warp, Skybite, and countless others got to continue their legacy in some way, shape, or form. Nowadays, the 13 Primes are more or less based around Vector Prime's popularity. Because Ask Vector Prime did such a great job at fleshing out the early days of the Transformers, eventually the Collectors Club jumped on that to make the concept of the original 13, populating the other 12 siblings with primes that we saw elsewhere, like Alpha Trion, Nexus Prime, Megatronus. They even made a couple, like Prima. Nowadays, Vector's not quite as important. He's still beloved as being one of the most iconic characters from Transformers Cybertron, but it's easy to say he's lost a lot of his luster. The other 13 are now given much more screen time than him, especially Megatronus. But Vector is still special. He's the one who started it all, and was also the one to truly make fans wonder what else we could do with this vast setting and all of these thousands of weird characters.
Autobot Commander Optimus Prime, it has been an honor working with you.
It's actually through Ask Vector Prime that we can talk about Vector's first ever toy released in 1993. The G2 Autobot watch is not meant to be Vector Prime, at least it wasn't meant to be him back then. However, Vector Prime has confirmed this is what he used to look like in ancient Cybertron. Speaking of that original Vector, why don't we fast forward to 2004 to talk about the Galaxy Force figure. This toy is gorgeous. The creamy white, the burgundy, the striking blue, his sword, the vehicle mode. It's so ornate, so intricate. This was a toy released to mass retail and Takara Tomy markets, and yet it feels like a high-end piece. The articulation's limited, sure, but the overall presence is just incredible. This is still one of the most regal and authoritative figures ever put in Transformers, and a beautiful debut figure for Vector Prime. It's a shame that Hasbro kinda ruined it in 2005. Now, let's just say this now, Cybertron Vector Prime is still a good toy, it's the same mold, but the gray is so drab, the red so washed out, the paint scheme is so less intricate. There's technically more color, but it looks sloppier, more kludgy. I'm just not a fan of this domestic release of Vector Prime. I feel like the Takara Tomy version was so gorgeous, like a work of art. This guy feels more like a Transformer, and I'm not saying that as a positive. You could also get the Hasbro Vector Prime in a multi-pack with Starscream. 2006 would just be a really odd year for Vector Prime. There was the Tactics guy, which looks normal, I guess. Legends Vector Prime looked pretty good too. For a 2-inch tall toy, they've captured the design incredibly well. No, the weird one is the Galaxy Force Vector Prime. And let's clear that up now, because it's its own can of worms. This was not released in the Galaxy Force toy line. No, this was the US Hasbro Transformers Cybertron toy line, making a figure called Galaxy Force Vector Prime, which is already confusing. But also, where does this deco come from? Vector never looked like this. It's not a bad looking deco, the yellow, the orange, the blue face. It's definitely cool. I can kind of imagine this is what Vector would have looked like back in the golden age of Cybertron, but I just want to know what the inspiration could have come from. In 2007, Vector got to have a Jollibee Kids Meal, and for a Happy Meal level toy, this is decent. Vector Prime's final toy of the 2000s came in 2009 as his Universe figure. I have no idea where this brown and black Vector Prime deco came from. It doesn't look great. I guess it makes him look rusty and old? I'm not too sure, man. I think this one needs some more time in the oven. Thankfully, time means nothing to someone as ancient as Vector Prime, which is probably why he was okay waiting 10 years until 2017 for his next figure. Unfortunately, it was as a Prime Master in Power of the Primes. He came alongside Metalhawk as his decoy armor, and I just don't like the Prime Masters. It's a bad gimmick, it never really worked, and also, wasted potential here. Think about this, in Transformers Cybertron, Landmine and Vector Prime's names come right after each other in the intro. Why wasn't Vector Prime put with Landmine? I'm telling you, Hasbro hates anything that's not G1. That is a layup waiting to happen. Thankfully, they didn't fumble anything in 2024 when we got the Legacy Cybertron Universe Vector Prime. This guy looks so nice. I love it. Now, he is a remold of G-Axis, which is why he has those weird hinges down by his ankles that don't do anything. Even still, the overall body is just sharp. It's not quite as ornate as that original Galaxy Force figure, but it's still very, very good, especially for a figure coming out in the 2020s. And that's it. Now, do not get me wrong. Vector has not had many toys. He's not even had many proper media appearances. Ever since Cybertron, when he does show up, it's just for group shots. He becomes part of the tomb with the other Primes in Revenge of the Fallen, or he gets killed alongside the other Primes in Transformers 1. But don't take anything away from Vector's legacy. The 13 Primes are now one of the core pillars of Transformers lore. You can't escape them, and they only exist because of Vector. Transformers Cybertron is a series that brought countless people into the fandom, and Vector is core to that show's identity. But to me, the thing that makes Vector special, the reason why I think he's worth doing an episode on before any other Prime, more so than Megatronus, more so than Prima, more so than Solus, more so than Nexus, more so than any of them, is Ask Vector Prime. I know it sounds goofy and corny, but it was nice. We got to learn about these toys that mattered to people, but never got much media appearances. We got to learn about pieces of the Transformers mythos that never would have been touched on before or since. It helps that you had superfans like Chris McFeely and Ben Yee working on Ask Vector Prime, but let's not take anything away from Hasbro themselves. You had Aaron Archer having a hand in that. you had this wonderful moment where it kind of felt like the toy designers and the showrunners and the comic writers and the fans all got to share something. We got to all collaborate and make Ask Vector Prime something special. And Vector Prime is special. He's more special than any of the other 13, in my opinion. And that's why, even though he's not had many toys, and even though he's not appeared in many shows, he's always going to be someone that people remember. We all love Vector Prime, because Vector Prime reminded us that at the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of nerds, and we love watching big, dumb robots fight. But sometimes, it's also cool just to see the big, dumb robots talking about what the other big, dumb robots get up to.
I know that in the hearts of these friends I have made, I shall live forever.
But guys, I'll ask you, which was your favorite Vector Prime? And is there a Vector Prime you're trying to track down right now? I'm pretty sure the next episode is going to be Motormaster. That makes sense to me. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the plan. Alongside that, guys, I'm on Patreon now. $1 will give you access to my Discord server, Moonbase 1. $5 will allow you to watch videos early and download videos directly from me. And $10 will make you a producer. You'll be able to show up in every video I make from now on, as well as make direct Patreon requests to me. Keep in mind, Vector Prime was a Patreon request. Thank you again, Godempress Music, not only for suggesting Vector Prime, but also for allowing me to use your music for this video. If you heard any of these musical tracks and would like to download them for yourself, go check out the links below. Thank you all so much for watching, and hey, we'll see what we get up to next time.